Saurabh Google. I am a data engineer and data ops team in Azure Squad. So my today's topic is DuckDB. As far as we know that databases are used to store, manage and retrieve data in structured format. However, the traditional databases like Postgres and MySQL are having some limitations like high latency, poor performances when we talk about analytic datasets, as well as it is limited to resource that are available on the system. DuckDB is an open source available analytic database. It actually is an equivalent for SQLite but for OLAP workloads. It features a high performance query engine that is suitable for time as well as analysis. Now the main goal is not the data processing, it is actually data analysis. That is why we are going to explore more about DuckDB. Using DuckDB is like having a duck. As we know that duck can swim, they can carry things, they can fly. Similarly, DuckDB is also available to perform in different stages of software development lifecycle, like for the different queries, for storing data, for managing it, for analysis, all of these. So DuckDB actually uses various types of different datasets like string, int, and all of the available datasets, and that is why it is useful for heterogeneous databases. Now let's continue with talking about OLAP processes. First of all, there are two different types of processes. One is OLAP and other is OLTP. So OLAP stands for Online Analysis Processing and the OLTP stands for Online Transaction Processing. As both of the names suggest, one is basically for transactions and the other is for analysis. So all the other traditional databases that we have are basically OLTP structured. So DuckDB actually possesses the OLAP processes. Here we actually can see there is a OLAP queue. Let's talk about OLAP processes. So DuckDB uses OLAP, that is actually a software management processing system for multi-dimensional datasets. There are two different types of processing. That one is OLAP, that stands for Online Analytic Processing, and the other is OLTP, that is Online Transactional Processing. As we can see from the name itself, one is basically focusing on the analysis, the other is focusing on transactional. Most of the DB that we already have existing traditional databases like Postgres and MySQL, they are using the OLTP process, but DuckDB uses OLTP. The benefit of using OLTP is basically this OLAP queue. We will discuss this OLAP queue now. So basically, when we have data in our multiple dimensions, like in our Excel, we have data in 2D, that is rows and columns. When we add a third dimension to it, that is when we use our DuckDB. DuckDB uses the data sources, transforms the data, stacks them together and creates a queue. Let's just say I have an Excel. A sheet of Excel added with another sheet of Excel that is related to it will convert to an OLAP queue. The OLAP queue is basically relational data that is present with all of the variables. Now let's talk about most four important concepts of the OLAP queue. So first is drill down. The name suggests that it has to drill down. We can go into the data deep within itself, but it actually increases the number of layers in the OLAP queue. As well as the other one is the opposite of drill down, that is roll up. In this we do not get much into the data, as well as we actually decrease the layer of OLAP queue. Third is slice and dice. Basically, most of the time, ideal situation are we need the data that we require, and for that we do slicing and dicing. That is, we actually use only one part of the queue that is necessary for us. And the last is pivot. Right now we know about axial pivot, that is changing the horizontal data to vertical. Basically it's similar to that, but it is easier in the DuckDB. As we previously discussed that our main goal is data analysis and not data processing. So Ola Cube is actually help us in multiple dimensional app queries. Most of the users can use this Ola Cube at the same time and query different types of data from different type of environments. Now let's talk about comparison between our existing SQLite DB and this DuckDB. Basically, those two use different processes. One is Ola and other is DuckDB. But the other main differences are, one is columnar storage. DuckDB basically uses a column to interact with its app queries, whereas SQLite uses a row. So for one set of data, we have to actually go through all the row and get the data. The other one is scalability. DuckDB actually is very highly scalable on comparison with the SQLite DB. Third is in-memory execution. So DuckDB basically uses in-memory execution, that is, it can use the memory on the real-time basis, but SQLite uses the disk data. One of the disadvantages here is for the DuckDB we will need actually more of the memories for the processing. The last and the most important one is high performance query engine. Basically DuckDB has a very high performance query engine which actually helps in optimizing the queries as well as performing it at a very high rate. Analysis can be done in milliseconds. On the other hand, SQLite is basically a transactional DB, which actually is easy to use but is not very powerful. Now we will discuss about some of the use cases of DuckDB. DuckDB is basically a relational database, so data warehousing is going to be its first of the best use case. In the data warehousing, we can actually perform various data integration, data aggregation and data analysis. The other one is going to be the business intelligence. As we already know that we need basically trends to implement our further decisions, and with the fast execution and fast queries, DuckDB is very helpful in the business intelligence. The other one is going to be machine learning. As we know that in the machine learning we basically need data sets and processed data. So DuckDB is basically an analysis platform and it is going to be performing various aggregations to give us that data. In the machine learning, we can use this data and train our model to perform the result that we expect. Now we can discuss about the embedded system. Basically, DuckDB can be used for embedded system because this does not require higher resources like other DBs that are present, that is Postgres or SQL. The other one is going to be IoT devices. Now we can actually get the time series data from various IoT devices like mobile or other IoT devices and perform the analysis over it. DuckDB is basically a new technology, so one of the best use cases is going to be its R&D sector. We can perform various research and development for this DuckDB and explore more about this. Some of the advantages of DuckDB is lightweight. First of all, as we already discussed that it is useful for the embedded systems. Actually, the DuckDB is designed to be lightweight and fast. That makes it very helpful for these kind of things. Now the support for SQL, basically DuckDB uses the SQL queries that can be used within the integration like APIs as well as the system itself. The last one is going to be its integration with other available tools. DuckDB basically is available to be used with different type of languages in different type of codes. We can perform the queries within the code itself. I have actually explored DuckDB during my experiments. As you are already aware that I am a data engineer, so it has helped me in analyzing large data set, uncover insights and actually drive better outcomes with time boundaries as well. Now, I have also suggested this to many customers as well as implemented this. It adds the value as it is cost effective, scalable, performs large queries within very short time, it saves time for us. And DuckDB also gives us the ability to secure our data and help us in data management as well. Thank you for being here.